the Nerd, and this is my top 10 TV shows that ended too soon. Last week I did my top 10 TV shows of all time, and this week they're TV shows that may have been on my top 10, but they got canceled far too soon, in my opinion. So we're going to hit the top 10 with that this week, but first I want to talk about 5 honorable mentions. Now, contrary to what I usually do, these are not my own honorable mentions. I polled my friends on Twitter and some of my friends, like personal friends, and they gave me some shows that they felt were canceled too soon, and I want to make sure I mention them because I hear they're awesome. And I'm just going to mention 5, so in the comments you know that I thought of these. I just either didn't watch them at all, or I didn't see enough of it to base enough of an opinion on it. So here are some of the 5 honorable mentions that I personally did not really get into, but I hear I missed something good and it was canceled far too soon. We have Farscape, which is a sci-fi show. Apparently it was awesome, but was canceled far too soon. Then we had Rome. I love the time period. I love Gladiator and that kind of stuff, so it's definitely a show I probably should watch, but I didn't, and it's something I might get into despite the fact that it didn't last so long. Then we have Star Trek Enterprise. I'm not a big Trek fan to begin with. I did watch some of the Next Generation, a little bit of the original series, but kind of stopped after that, and I watched the movies. Apparently Enterprise is a very good series that simply just ended too soon, so I had to mention it here. Then we have Deadwood. Deadwood is a show that was recommended to me by Brent Spiner, the guy who played Data in the Star Trek series. When I met him, I don't remember how it came up, but he was telling me how great that show was, and I've heard nothing but good things about it, and now I hear they're getting a movie. So it definitely ended far too soon, and is one of the classic shows of all time as far as what I understand. And the other one, and I know I would get comments if I didn't mention it, but I never really got into it. I've only seen a couple episodes, but it's probably the poster child of shows that ended too soon, and that's Firefly. It's just something I never really watched all that much, so I didn't want to put it on my top 10, but I had to mention it here. So let's get into my own top 10 of the shows that ended too soon. Number 10. Now this one I was wary about putting on my list, but I decided to do it anyway because it did have 5 seasons, but it ended on a cliffhanger and then never came back. And that show is Las Vegas. Las Vegas was just this really cool show about people who work at a casino, and it was awesome. I mean, yes, we did get 5 seasons, so maybe it wasn't canceled so soon, but I did want to mention it because in the midway of season 5, it ended on this really crazy cliffhanger, just like an amazing episode. All the stuff was happening, but that's when the writer's strike came up, and they just never continued with the show. It got canceled before we got to see a resolution to that, and that just blew my mind. So in that regard, I think it was canceled too soon, even though we did get 5 seasons. So I did want to mention it, but I put it down at number 10. Number 9, The Contender. So again, when I was doing the research for this show, I noticed that there have been multiple seasons of this TV show, which is a TV show about kind of a boxing reality show, similar to Tough Enough for pro wrestling or The Ultimate Fighter for the mixed martial arts. The Contender in season 1 had Sylvester Stallone in it. It was just an amazing series. It showed a lot of heart. It was edited super well. The music was fantastic. But after that, they lost Sylvester Stallone, and then it just went on this like kind of weird route, and I just didn't enjoy as much. So even though the show itself lasted longer than some of the other shows on this thing, I want to mention it because even though it had more seasons, I felt season 1, that concept should have gone throughout the series, but when Stallone was out, it just wasn't the same, and that's why I think it ended too soon. Number 8. The War at Home. I don't know if you remember this show. Apparently it even got voted like worst show of the year in season 2, and it ended at season 2. But I really liked this show. It was a sitcom starring Michael Rappaport, and if you've seen him in movies and stuff, you know the kind of attitude and cockiness that he has, and I really, really enjoyed it. I don't know, maybe this is a personal opinion, but I thought it was really funny. I thought it had a lot of like heart and a lot of really funny moments. It had Rami Malek as the like a weird kid that the son was befriending. I mean, it was a great show, I thought. But it ended after 2 seasons, and it's unfortunate. I think it could have been one of those great sitcoms, but guess it wasn't because apparently I'm the only one who liked it. But if you did, let me know, because I'd love to hear someone else who liked this show, or even remembers it for that matter. Number 7. Men Behaving Badly. A TV show starring Rob Schneider in like the late 90s, early 2000s. I don't remember exactly when it was. I think this had 3 seasons. I really only watched the first 2 because the second actor, it was about 2 guys who lived together, kind of like Joey and Chandler from Friends, if the whole show focused just on them. That's what Men Behaving Badly was kind of like, but with Rob Schneider and someone else. But then they changed the other guy, and it just wasn't the same. But it was still a really funny show. I enjoyed it thoroughly, and I wish it didn't get canceled, but it did. So it ended too soon. Number 6. The Chappelle Show. Oh my god, I love The Chappelle Show. My friends love The Chappelle Show. Of all the TV shows in history, I don't think there are many of my friends who own the same like box set as The Chappelle Show. Almost every single one of my friends own this box set because it was such a great show. What happened with this one, because it was really popular, is that Dave Chappelle went, I don't know what happened to him, but he went to Africa and then he canceled the show himself. It was this like whole thing. So it wasn't like the network that canceled it, it's him that canceled it. It was just a weird situation. He has done skits, Chappelle Show-ish skits since then, pretty recently. He did one with The Walking Dead, which was really funny. But the original run of The Chappelle Show, I think it was 2 seasons, was fantastic. It is still funny to this day, very thought-provoking, and I was sad to see it go. Number 5. Dead Like Me. Dead Like Me is about a girl who becomes, like, she dies and she becomes a kind of a Grim Reaper, but in this world there are multiple Reapers, it's not just one, and it's kind of like their job to be Grim Reapers, and it's this really quirky, funny comedy slash little bit drama show. It was awesome. It was a really great show, and I think it was a little bit ahead of its time, to be honest, which is probably why it got canceled. But we did get a resolution. It had kind of a, I guess, made-for-DVD movie that came out later, which is awesome. But the show itself only lasted, I think, 2 seasons, and that's unfortunate because there were a lot of stories I think it could have told, and it just didn't. So that's why it's on my list. Number 4. Agent Carter. Agent Carter is one of the Marvel shows that came about spanning from the MCU. Of course, telling the story of Agent Carter, kind of what happened after the first Captain America, when Captain America gets frozen in ice. And I thought it was just a really great show. You had Agent Carter, you had Tony Stark's dad as one of the other characters, and it was awesome. It was kind of a spy thriller, how S.H.I.E.L.D. got started, and I really, really enjoyed it. Haley Atwell is such a great character as Agent Carter. She's so good, and such a nice person in real life, by the way. I was just really sad to see this one go. I love to see Agent Carter pop up in the MCU once in a while. Of course, you know, after, I think it was Civil War, probably won't see her much anymore, but she's an amazing character, and I'm really sad that the show ended at 2 seasons, because I think there could have been a lot of great stories that could come out of there, but they canceled it, so what are you going to do? Number 3. The Exorcist. Oh my god, I love The Exorcist TV show. It was what a fan of The Exorcist like myself had dreamed of seeing. It was just this amazing story, great characters, the horror was awesome. It was just such a great show, and I don't understand why it didn't do well. Horror fans should watch this show. Now, there are 2 seasons, and I think they're both fantastic. Season 1 being stronger than the second, but still, an amazing show, and I'm so bummed out that it got canceled. Now I get it. Nobody was watching it. I've told so many people to watch it, and they still didn't watch it. I don't know why people won't give this one a chance. It is such a fantastic show. If you are a horror fan, especially if you're an Exorcist fan, you need to watch this show. The Exorcist is awesome. I could not recommend it more, and I'm really sad that it got canceled last year. Number 2. Oh, this one bums me out. Freaks and Geeks. Freaks and Geeks was a 1-season show about kind of high school students. It was kind of like the Wonder Years, but a little bit older, kind of more into high school. And it showed the perspective of freaks, which are just guys and girls who were kind of popular but had their own thing going, and then geeks were kind of these really like geeky kids. The star power this show produced, I mean, Seth Rogen, Linda Cardellini, James Franco, Martin Starr, that guy from Forgetting Sarah Marshall, whose name I forget right now, and from How I Met Your Mother, Jason Segel, I think. There are so many great actors in this show. How did this not get picked up for a second season? It boggles my mind. It was so funny. This could have easily made my top 10 shows of all time had it had more than one season. One season. How is that possible? I don't know. But I was really, really bummed that it got canceled. Now, I read into it. Apparently, the show, and I don't remember this, I did watch it in its original airing, but in Canada, you know, it's different than the US, and especially back then, we'd get it on a certain channel, so it would air different days and stuff. But apparently, the show would be like on a different day all the time. Like, it'd be Tuesday night one week, Friday night another week, and just like a crazy, weird schedule, and that's why it got canceled. But damn, Freaks and Geeks, you need to watch it. It is amazing, and I was really, really sad to see it go. Number 1. Daredevil. And this really goes for all of the Marvel shows that on Netflix. You know, Iron Fist, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, and The Defenders, and probably Punisher, I guess. They cancel all of them. Now I get it. Disney probably wants them back from Netflix, and that's why they canceled it. But come on. Daredevil especially. Now, if you watch my top 10 of all time, Daredevil was on that list, so of course I'm going to mention it. It only had 3 seasons, but damn, those seasons were so good. Season 3 was so good. How could they cancel it? Like, it sucks that we're never going to get to see the continuation of this particular Daredevil. This was my Daredevil. This is the Daredevil I've been waiting for a long time. Like that Affleck portrayal of the 2000s. Ugh, no. This was Daredevil as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I talked about in the other thing too, the guy who played Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio, fantastic villain. It was just so good, so good, and I'm really, really sad that we're not going to get to see Daredevil or any other of the Netflix Marvel shows, other than the ones that are filmed. So Punisher just came out recently, and Jessica Jones, I think, has one more season, and then we're probably done. And that really sucks. I hope somehow, some way they can be saved, but it's not looking that way, and that really, really bumps me out. So Daredevil is the top show that got canceled too soon, in my opinion. I'd love to know which ones you think got canceled too soon. Let me know what you think of my list as well. And next week, I'm going to talk about my top 10 nicest celebrities I've ever met. I've met a lot of celebrities through cons and stuff, and I gathered a little top 10. I hope you enjoy these as much as I enjoy doing them. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all on